CHAMPS Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also brought to you in part by Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The U.S. Army, what's your warrior? The Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, because better coaching always matters. And the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers. Hi, and welcome to the final full-length episode of Hangtime Michigan. I'm Lauren Plant, and we're living in unusual times. And as of the taping of this show, the boys' basketball season will not see its conclusion. Several winter sports not allowed to as well. Our program is presented by Lawrence Technological University. You need a 21st century post-high school education. Just the events of the world over the past weeks prove this world needs problem solvers, engineers, architects, scientists, and researchers in technology, biotech, and more. I promise you, one of the best degrees you can earn is from right here in Southfield, Michigan. Lawrence Tech. Begin your journey of discovery at ltu.edu. We have a ton to get to this week, believe that. Matt Mowry will tell you the only path if we were to finish the basketball playoffs. We've got a game changer in high-tech vision training from the Detroit Medical Center. You don't want to miss that. Ryan Slocum talked with the Flint Beecher seniors at the barbershop. Fans weighed in on what will they remember about the boys' season, as does TJ Kelly and Scott Bernstein. But the majority of the show reliving our top 10 games of the season, and there were some good ones. Let's start the countdown, presented by the U.S. Army. If you're looking to secure a future for you and your family, ask yourself, what's your warrior? Find out at GoArmy.com.
Big game in the Little Dipper between Joseph Kimmer and the Hal Eagles going up against Lucas Stone and the Posen Vikings. First quarter, Ian Hinska working hard in the paint and is going to finish with the layup here. Nice job by the senior. Moments later, Hinska drives into the paint, takes his time, and he's going to lay it up and in. Vikings up 6 after 1. Back comes Hal. Joel Bovee is going to take his pass, line up in the corner, and knock down this triple here. He's well known for hitting from downtown, but back comes Posen. Lucas Stone drives in, fakes out Joseph Kimmer, and yeah, that's an easy bucket. Vikings down 23-20 at the half. Third quarter, Joseph Kimmer drives in, throws it up a little floater. That's good. 14 points on the night for the senior. Moments later, Kimmer in transition. Nice pass here to David Wanty. Good teamwork there. Not only Wanty can finish inside, but he'll knock down the triple as well, just like this one from the corner. He finished with 11 points on the night, but the Vikings deliver when it's needed most. Down 1, Lucas Stone pulls up for a long two-pointer. That won't go, but Wyatt Rommel tips it up and in. Vikings up 1 with less than a few seconds to go. That was one shot away. Kimmer for the win. No. What a thriller in Posen. Vikings defeat the Eagles by a score of 47-46.
Detroit Douglas might have their best team maybe ever. 7-1 coming in. We've got them ranked 20th in the state. Tough task ahead, though, as the Saline Hornets came ready to play. 3-1 record on the young season. The challenge for the Hornets, how to handle one of the top players in the state, Pierre Brooks Jr. Case in point, in the key, pulls up, no. He gets the handle on the rebound, strong move to the rack, finish, and the foul. You can't stop him, you can only hope to contain him. Brooks with a ton of offers, including Michigan State and most recently Michigan. Just a ton of range. Here, spotting up for well above the top of the arch. Hurricanes up 7 after the first. 4 minutes to go in the half. Hurricanes slowing it down as their lead here at 9. No panic in the Hornets. Off the Brooks miss. The 6'6 senior Griffin Yaklich with the rock. The no-look pass to Trevor Arico. Then it will be Arico getting the ball to Yaklich in motion. Smooth dribble drive and finish in the lane. He got game, but the Hornets still trail by 11 at the break. Second half was a better ball game. Third quarter, Saline getting it going. Xavier McClendon stripped by Derek Caldwell. Arico can't finish, but Yaklich can. 18-point night for Griffin. But then, a quick look at Brooks dropping the hammer. 20 points for Pierre. Hurricanes ended the third seemingly with a handle on this one. Donovan Peoples can't hit, but junior Javante Randall hitting the O-glass in the bucket. He had 9. 46-35, Hurricanes after 3. Hornets refuse to go away. Arico with the turnaround triple. Oh my! He had 20 points. Celine within 6, a minute and a half remaining. But this was the Hurricanes' night. McClendon, an 8-point fourth quarter, 14 points overall. Detroit Douglas hangs on, takes down Celine, 63-55 the final. Brooks says this team is earning their success.
We got guys coming in the gym 6:30 in the morning, not coming out till like 8 o'clock. So I think it's just our work ethic and the pieces that we have around us.
To the OAA White Division matchup, Rochester Hills Stony Creek on the road to take on the Warriors from Southfield A&T. Stony Creek in blue, winners of 3 of their last 5, including a 1-point win over Farmington. In the first, the junior, Trevor Smith Jr., knocking down one of his 2 from beyond the arc in the quarter. Southfield A&T 13-2, riding a 4-game win streak. Caleb Banks is a Division I surefire stud on the football field. He can hoop too, dropping the bunny. Warriors trailed 13-10 after the first. More from Southfield in the second. Jalen Lee with the drive and dish to Daquan Coach gets it to go. He finished with 13. Cougars, however, went into the half leading 24-22. Smith with the basket. He had a game-high 22. Great second half from both teams. The masked man, Zach Jones, dialing it up from long distance. Warriors feeling it. Coach gets the loose ball, spots Lee for the contested lay-in. Southfield A&T down 37-36 into the final quarter. And we had a great finish. Southfield's Andre Floyd sees a wide-open Couch. He had 13, and we were tied at 46. But it would be too much Stony Creek. Alex Ryder with the fake and then gives to Jack Rohrig, who puts it home. Stony Creek celebrates big win. They beat Southfield A&T 56-51. To the marquee matchup of the Tip-Off Classic, Ypsilanti Lincoln won its first basketball state title in school history last winter. Supreme sophomore Imani Bates ready to go, currently ranked the top player in the country in any class. Taking on last season's Division II runners-up, River Rouge. We picked things up in the first quarter. The Rouge Panthers settling in. The senior Amani Weston hits the pull-up J. The Rail Splitters Bates averaged 28 points a game a year ago as a freshman, recently on the cover of Sports Illustrated, compared to Magic, Michael, and LeBron as next in line. Hits the runner. We were tied at 16 after 1. Seesaw affair in the early parts of the second. How about this freshman, Braylon Green? The nice up and under. He's already got college offers and will get many more. He finished with 13 points on the night. Second half, the uncommitted 6'7 junior for River Rouge, Legend Jeter, expects to leave one before his days as a Panther are through. That's a healthy looking stroke. River Rouge increased their lead to 11. But the defending D1 state champs still fighting. Turnover, and the ball in Bates' hands. Who knows what to do with it? He finished with a game-high 24 points. But Jeter's 10 points in the fourth were critical. Here's his exclamation point. Legend with a double-double, 19 points and 11 boards. River Rouge beats Ypsilanti Lincoln for the second year in a row, 63-53 the final.
We do this! We do this!
Don't flinch. Fast start. We're physical. We're more physical than them tonight. And we're setting the tone. Fast start. Let's set the tone. Let's fly around.
KLAA Conference Tourney semifinal action. 12-6 Kenton taking on Belleville for the first time this year. Tigers 15-3 on the season. The KLAA East champs Belleville trying to set the tone in the early going. Mario Johnson with the block. Brandon Jackson leads it perfectly to a streaking Connor Bush. Peanut butter and jam. Tied for second in the West with Northville. The Chiefs coming off a thrilling win at the buzzer over rival Plymouth. The kid who won that game right here, Jake Vickers. Kenton in the midst of a 12-4 run. Kenton led 15-8 after the first quarter, due in large part to their proficiency from the outside. Jacob Rubis knocks down the triple in the waning seconds. Second quarter now. Tigers trying to find their groove. This is what you call a 50-50 ball. Bush with the basket and the whistle. But Vickers and crew continued to expand on their lead. Jake had 15 first half points, including 3 long balls. Chiefs led 28-15 at the break. Second half, Belleville started balling. This is the senior Lorenzo Wright, straight to the rack, but still a comfortable 13-point lead for the Chiefs late in the third. And as quickly as it grew to 20, the lead began to evaporate in the fourth. The senior Jalen Williams, the fake, and then the finish. 3 minutes left, Tigers were within 4, 49-45. Under 30 seconds left to go in the game now. Belleville down 2. Nice vision between the sophomore Johnson and Wright. Backdoor wide open. He had a team-high 19. Chiefs in the front court with the last shot in regulation. Cole Vickers with the great look. No! Then this happened. The senior Ben Stesiak from behind the backboard at the buzzer. Back-to-back game-winning shots as time expires for the Chiefs. That qualified Canton with a date in the KLAA title tilt versus Howe. 58-56 the final.
We came into this game knowing we were going to have to win this game with defense. Played a solid defense in the first half. Second half, we kind of fell down with that a little bit, but we kept grinding and we came back and just got the win. Come into a hostile crowd like this, hostile environment, and get the win and pull it out, it feels amazing. I mean, it's great. No better feeling.
How you doing? My name is First Class Adams.
Hey, what's up, Detroit? I'm Staff Sergeant Stevens. If you're within the age of 17 to 34, if you look for a job without any experience, we can teach you everything you need to know. Come be a part of the team.
And where you can locate us at is on goarmy.com/Michigan.
And our phone number is 586-774-0218 or 517-214-8542.
Go Army.
All right, thanks for coming back here. Our final episode of Hangtime Michigan. Matt Mowry, the managing editor at StateChampsNetwork.com, joining me now. And I wanted to have Matt here in studio so that we could just kind of give you a what-if scenario. If somehow we are able to finish the boys basketball state tournament, how could it happen?
Well, I think when you look at it, boys basketball is probably the limiting factor for all winter sports, whether or not they're going to conclude, simply because there are the most games left to play and it's going to take the longest time.
How many? Just say that.
There are 256 teams remaining and 252 games to play. You know, you have 128 district finals, 64 regional semifinals, 32 regional finals, 16 quarterfinals, 8, you know, as you go on. And so there's a long way to play. So you're going to need a period of time set aside that's longer than any of the other sports remaining, be it hockey, gymnastics, boys swimming, girls basketball. All of those could be wrapped up, with the exception of girls basketball, fairly expeditiously. Yeah. The basketball ones are the ones that are going to take some time. If you're looking at doing the boys basketball and not doing something like other states do, where maybe you play double headers, especially if you need the same site for a girls, say, quarterfinal and a boys regional final, play double headers that way. We're not even talking about crowd size here. We're just talking about venues available. You would probably need a 10-day span at least, even if you were talking no travel days in between and just trying to get these out, bang, bang, bang. You need 9 days basically to get it done if you have one travel day in there. So it's going to take a period of time. Plus, you're also talking about how fast are these kids going to be able to, after a certain period of time off, be able to spin back up to full game capabilities and full game shape. So we're talking probably a lag time before you even start playing again of 10 to 15 days of getting back in conditioning and getting back in the flow, getting plays back under, being able to kind of figure out, you know, where you're at and what you're doing, getting back in a rhythm again, shooting the ball. So we're probably looking at almost a full 3 weeks of 21 days to try to get the boys basketball in. If we're talking about the The time period that the MHSAA has given us as April 6th as the earliest starting point when schools might get back together, we're looking at almost the end of April before the boys tournament could be concluded and we could get on to spring sports. Now probably you could run them concurrently because there's not a lot of crossover between those two sports, between a lot of the sports. If you use the latest CDC guidelines that were just issued this last Sunday of trying to play in front of or have crowds of less than 10 people, and we're talking about being extended into mid-May, you're talking about the end of May, the start of June, which is traditionally about the time that the spring sports are wrapping up before you would even be able to get the winter sports done. I think if you're following those guidelines, it's a lot less likely that we have the winter tournament and we more likely go on to an abbreviated spring season, unfortunately. But if it all depends on how quickly schools are able to kind of get back into the normal, how much we're able to flatten the curve, as they say, and how much we're able to kind of speed up the process of getting back to a sense of normalcy. If that ends up being at the start of April, I see it being a possibility that we get done. If it ends up being at the start of May or mid-May, that possibility certainly decreases.
We're not trying to be Debbie Downers here.
We're just trying to figure out the math.
That's right, and just give you some sobering news, perhaps, but also still glass half full. If there's a will, there is a way, and we'll all just have to figure out a way to do it together. Matt, thanks for being here.
Hi, I'm Laura Ramus with DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. Today on Game Changers, we're going to be going over sensory training. Athleticism is more than just training power and speed. Training your sensory system, utilizing your eyes, can improve your reaction time and your quickness. We're going to be training your eyes, connected to your brain, connected to your body. After all, the difference between winning and losing some time is an inch or a fraction of the second. So let's show you how you can train your vision to become a quicker athlete. We utilize synaptic glasses. These glasses will block out part of his visual field intermittently while we just do a basic training technique, catching a ball. Looks like this. Now, if you don't have the synaptic glasses like we have here at the DMC, you can utilize just a ball with numbers, letters, or arrows on it like this. What number do you see?
4. 2.
What letter do you see?
B. C.
Which direction is the arrow pointing?
Right. Down. Up.
This will improve your reaction time in any sport. So whatever the sport, incorporate sensory training into your next workout.
Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Then go where the pros go. DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. For immediate care, call 313-910-9328 or visit dmc.org/gamechangers. Welcome to another segment of Fast Break here on our final full-length program of State Champs Hangtime, Michigan. I'm joined by the Executive Director of the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, Dan Young. I may have mentioned this before, but membership at BCAM, another all-time high, 5,848 members. BCAM is the largest basketball coaches association in the country for the 7th consecutive year. I'm sure there are a lot of associations throughout the country that wonder, how do you do it?
Well, we work hard at it. We have a school special, and we try to recruit as many people as we can to become members of BCAM, and we include everybody, and we take a lot of pride in it. And so it's a great accomplishment again, and I want to thank all the coaches as we move forward through the awards season and make sure you're nominating your people for the awards and players and coaches, and we're still full force. We're going to have all our awards, and thank you.
All right, so all the deadlines, all that's at bcam.org.
Correct.
Okay. All right, in a small ceremony Friday afternoon at Detroit Edison Public School Academy, Gabrielle Elliott was named the 40th winner of the Mick McCabe Miss Basketball Award, given out jointly by the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, and the Detroit Free Press. Her teammate, Rickea Jackson, who literally is lighting up women's college basketball at Mississippi State, just a phenomenal freshman year. Those of you who remember Rickea, she was extremely outgoing, the center of attention. Elliott, much more low-key, led Edison to a 22-0 season before the tournament was shut down. An outstanding leader, although maybe a more of a lead-by-example type of persona, referred to as the silent assassin, metaphorically speaking, of course.
They say that she wins every sprint, that whatever team you put her on in practice, whether that team's behind or she gets moved to another team, comes back and wins. She's a phenomenal defender, very athletic, but does everything well. Her favorite player is Kawhi Leonard. Quiet, unassuming, but a great competitor.
Monique Brown has a veritable plethora of talent. What she's built at Detroit Edison is truly incredible. We may have several more Miss Basketballs coming out of that program in the next several years.
And we were talking about it, Mick McCabe, and I just want to say, Mick, thank you again for all that you do for high school athletics, but especially on the girls' side. Your support for high school girls basketball has been top-notch, so thank you again. But we were talking about back-to-back winners, and it's only been on the guys' side, 3 times on the guys' side from 3 different schools. But this is the first on the girls' side.
So Elliott finished with 3,891 points. Votes were assigned values of 5, 3, and 1, while East Lansing Aaliyah Nye was second with 3,367, and Heartland's Whitney Solom just 34 points behind at 3,335. 3 outstanding athletes.
People that have worked their way up through great programs and have been a part of success all the way through their careers. It's sad that they're not finishing right now, but hopefully they will. But we don't know that. But congratulations to all 3 schools, all 3 coaches, and all 3 student athletes.
Gabby is headed to Clemson, recently named the Gatorade Player of the Year as well. Interesting part is some might remember her brother, Greg Elliott, who competed at East English Village. He was a Mr. Basketball finalist in 2017.
I voted for Greg. I told him that after I saw him at Michigan State when he was on his one of his recruiting visits. And a neat story about how he would scrimmage his sister and said, if you can hang with me, there isn't any girl that can hang with you. I just thought that was a neat story, and he's a fine young person, and it was neat that she said, I'm winning this for you as well.
Yeah, we did a top junior award. Just one time we did in basketball, and that was his junior year. He was voted the top junior that year. Phenomenal player.
He played for Juan Rickman at East English, and yeah, he was the real deal.
Currently doing great at Marquette. Now, as we wrap this, can you give us any news as to when Mr. Basketball will be announced?
Mr. Basketball, the plan is to still announce Monday, March 23rd at 1 p.m.
So that's really all the information we have right now. Of course, everything happening in the state, in the country. Things can change, but that is the plan. Monday, March 23rd, we will have a new Mr. Basketball in the state of Michigan. Dan, thank you. Although this is our last full-length program, we will have Dan back, of course, as we discuss Mr. Basketball, because that, again, another incredible candidate crop. Let's hope we can just get this season finished and do more of this. Fingers crossed.
My dad and my grandfather are officials. I've grown up around officials and seeing how much they enjoy being part of the games. As a student athlete, I've always appreciated the people out there who are willing to give back to the kids. The Legacy program lets me officiate while I'm still in high school, working younger kids' games. Officiating gives me a better understanding of the game. I get to make some pretty good money for a high school kid, and I even get to spend some quality time with my dad. There's help wanted. Just whistle.
Asiago butter. Honey, look at this. 40,000 flavor combinations, and I've had almost every one. Asiago, butter, cheese, Cajun. The flavored crust combinations are endless. It's the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
To get more pizza? Yeah.
No, to call your mother. Wow.
Don't go. I need that equation.
Now get a meal deal to fit any budget at the home of flavored crust.
Hungry?
Howie!
I'm Ryan Slocum. We had a battle of Mr. Basketball candidates at Kalamazoo Central with Jalen Terry and Beecher taking on Scooby Johnson and Benton Harbor. And they would both put on a show from the go. The Butler recruit breaking ankles and knocking down the triple to put the Tigers on top. But that fired up Ernest Sanders, the future Kentucky football player, showing off the receiving skills, throwing down the half-court alley-oop from Carmelo Harris. He then gets back on D for the block at the rim. Meanwhile, Terry showed off the range, hitting deep 3 after 3. He hit 5 for 17 points by the half. Beecher took an 11-point lead, but Scooby wouldn't let him pull away. Textbook turnaround Jay. Johnson scored a game-high 32. Beecher still led it 35-31 at the break. And the Bucks come out of the locker room on fire. Melo Harris can't get it to go, but Sanders is there for the putback to put him up 12. Scooby keeps the Tigers in it. 2 straight triples cuts the lead back to single digits. And Johnson and Terry only went head-to-head one time. JT pulls the big man to the perimeter and gets around him for the jam. Couple of trips later, Jalen goes down hard and turns his ankle. He did return late in the fourth, but he did not score again. Meanwhile, Keon Minifield stepped up in his absence, the junior with the teardrop for 2 of his 15. And then Sanders puts on his jammies and says goodnight to the Tigers. Ernest scored 28 as Beecher beats Benton Harbor 76-62. University of Kentucky commit Isaiah Jackson and Waterford Mott took on Grand Blanc, which was without sophomore sensation Ty Rogers, who was suffering from flu-like symptoms. The 6'9 senior goes right to work. Jackson misses the finger roll, but puts back his own miss for the jam. The Corsairs then get defensive. DeQuavion Washington takes it away and finds Jackson, who winds up and throws it down. He finished with 11 points, but the Bobcats finished the first half with the lead. Great ball movement. Nick Papadakis fires it inside to Connor Williams for 2 of his 12. Grand Blanc up 28-27 at the break. Kevin David Rice then catches fire in the third. The nephew of former U of M and NBA great Glenn Rice scored 8 straight to pull the Cats within 2. Rice can't knock this one down, though, and it turns into points the other way. Bonds, Damarion Bonds puts on his jammies to put Mott back up 6. Grand Blanc comes right back at him, and it's Rice again. He scored a game-high 20. Cats up 1 with a minute to play. But the Corsairs have an answer. It's Bonds with a rainbow from the logo. He scored 12. A pair of free throws would then tie it at 57 in the final seconds. Now, before the game, Mott coach David McGlowan told his team E.J. Bowman was going to hit a 3 to win it. And Miss Cleo couldn't have called it better. The Cats double Jackson, who kicks it back to E.J. for 3, and the prophecy fulfilled. The triple comes with 1.2 ticks on the clock. Bowman scored 14 as Waterford Mott wins its 4th straight, 60-57.
I know I can shoot that shot. I knew as soon as it left my hands it was going to go in, and I'll give all praise to Zeke because he could have, any five-star could take that shot, but he decided to pass it to me.
We go to the west side of the state. Grand Rapids Christian on the road to take on Wyoming. And who was on hand to witness this one? None other than Michigan head basketball coach Juwan Howard. The former Fab Fiver on hand to see one of the top juniors in the state, Kobe Buffkin. First half action, the step back bomb from the wing. Eagles led by 15 early. Wyoming's only loss of the season at the hands of Grand Rapids Christian 1 month ago. The senior Marion Parks calls for the screen. He gets it. Dribble penetration perfection. But the Wolves still found themselves down double digits at intermission. Now, if you've ever seen the state of Wyoming's license plate, it has a man on a bucking bronco. but Christian couldn't knock the Wolves off. Menelito McGee spots Parks in the deep corner. Count it. Wolves were within 2, 45-43 as we headed into the fourth. Move to the late stages. Grand Rapids Christian now trailing 60-57. Bufkin leads Cairo Rhodes to pay dirt. The finish and the foul. Rhodes trying to tie it up at the line. No! Somehow Evan May comes away with it, finds Jared Larry for the lay-in. Eagles take the lead 61-60. 6 seconds left. Wyoming with the inbound. Parks is fouled. Clearly the Eagles defender doesn't think so. He sunk the first at the line to tie. This one for the lead. Ice water running through those veins. Christian cannot advance the ball up court for a shot. Wyoming holds on in a thriller, 62-61 the final. That's high school basketball.
Saginaw High tried for its 13th straight win over crosstown rival Arthur Hill in front of Indiana Pacers rookie Brian Bowen, who was a member of the Lumberjacks when they last beat the Trojans. The Jacks couldn't have asked for a better start. Christian Smith, a beast on the block. He throws it down. The Trojans answer from the outside. Freddie McIntosh from Old Town Saginaw, and the bank is open on a Saturday. There may be no one in the state putting up points like Surreal Smith over the past few weeks, and he was a bucket again. The 6-footer can do a little bit of everything, including a left-handed putback jam. That is surreal. Trojans up 1. But Christian and the Jacks would match him. Smith with another jam of his own. They were tied at 30 at the break. Arthur Hill takes complete control in the third. Tim Jordan Jr. with the putback. He had 17 points and 11 boards. The Jacks go up 11. The Trojans start chipping away. Armand Goods in the corner to beat the third quarter buzzer. That cuts the lead to 7. The High continues to chip away in the fourth. The lead 3 with just under 2 to play. The long rebound comes out to Surreal, who pulls the trigger and ties it at 60 with 3 of his game-high 26 points. But the Trojans still could not figure out how to stop Smith. The sophomore had 25 points and 22 boards, and the streak is over. Arthur Hill beats the High for the first time since March 11th, 2015, 68-63.
The Catholic League Bishop Division Championship, our second-ranked team in the state, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, going up against UD Jesuit. The Cubs working on an 8-peat. That's right, 7 straight Catholic crowns. This game played at the University of Detroit Mercy's Callahan Hall.
Here we go, UD! Here we go! Here we go, UD! Here we go!
Cubs have fallen twice this year at the hands of OLSM. Looked good in the early stages. Charles Turner with the penetration. Backdoor cut by JT Morgan. The reverse layup is good. He had a 14-point night. UDJ also has a very nice freshman on the roster who just seems to be getting better by the minute. All Catholic honors for Sonny Wilson. The stutter step, floater, and the foul. He had 11 points in the first 2 quarters. Cubs led 12-8 after 1. But Orchard Lake St. Mary's boasts a Mr. Basketball finalist on their roster, Lorne Bowman II. Transition offense for the Eaglets, and it's Bowman with smooth shades of the former Cub Cassius Winston to the tin. Eaglets with depth and youth on their side as well. Jason Drake II going right and hits the difficult deuce. But the Cubs continue to scratch and claw their way into the Eaglets' back. Charles Turner open for 3 but can't hit. That's okay. John Marcus Rowland to the rescue. Count that baby and the foul. UD Jesuit led 28-23 at halftime. Third quarter was all Cubs as they countered the Eaglets each and every time up the floor, getting contributions from a variety of players. This is another freshman, Xavier Banks, cleaning up the O-glass and getting it to go. It was 46-40 in favor of UDJ after 3. Fourth quarter was good. Both teams exchanging blows. Wilson between the trees. The 9th grader with a team-high 20. But if you've seen Orchard Lake play and you're wondering, Just who might be the favorite for Mr. Basketball? Bowman making his case. 2 minutes left. From way downtown, this gave the Eaglets the lead, 51-50. Minute 30 left now. Cubs back up 1. Bowman like butter. 13 of his 28 points came in crunch time. Eaglets built up a 5-point lead with 15 seconds to go. Wilson trying to score quickly. He can't. Kareem Rozier will end up with it. He sees Julian Roper Jr., and that is how you end a 12-year drought in style. For the first time since 2008, Orchard Lake St. Mary's are Catholic League champs. They dethroned UD Jesuit 64-61 the final.
I just can't say enough about the team, and we were down 14 there, and we battled to come back, and hey, that's a 7-time defending champion. They weren't going to go down easy. I got a lot of respect for Pat. He's a great coach, had a great game plan.
It feels amazing. We just been working all season, just trying to get to this point. The last couple of years, they've knocked us off actually, so it feels really good back to get here and actually win it. It feels amazing right now.
All right, Hangtime Nation, I want to welcome for the first time into the Hangtime studios our good friend Ryan Slocum. Ryan has contributed so much of the content that we've had this particular year. Of course, he's been a state champs contributor for years. He continues to do great stuff for us. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So we wanted to give a perspective. We're all heartbroken if we don't get an opportunity to see the boys' basketball season come to its conclusion. You are particularly close to one particular high school, and you had a chance to kind of just gauge the temperature on what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing a documentary on the Beecher basketball team. Been close to Mike Williams and the Bucks for years, and we had a chance to catch up with them earlier this week. And with no practices, games, school, these guys are looking for anything to do right now to pass the time over the next couple of weeks. And we ran into those guys at the barber shop, and they tell us the suspension of athletics has taken away much more than wins and losses from their community, which is in need.
The Beecher basketball team begins each season with just one goal.
To win a state championship. You don't go to Beecher unless you want to win. That's all it is. You want to be a champion, then you go there.
But these Bucks will most likely never get their chance.
It's like something that'll happen in a movie to me. It's like something like we're living in a movie right now. Like, it's weird.
Nearly all of the U.S. has been put on hold due to the coronavirus pandemic, and that includes the MHSAA, which suspended the tournament, leaving Bucktown 6 wins short of its 6th state title in 9 seasons, and first since seniors Jalen Terry and Ernest Sanders were on the team as freshmen.
Your senior year is over, and I was like, man, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna cry or something because I don't have a chance, to do what Malik and Monte and them did.
You guys feel like something got stolen from you?
Yeah, something like that. I think we had a chance.
Stolen. Not by another team or a bad call, but by something these teenagers don't really understand.
I never heard of anything called the coronavirus. I don't even know, to be honest. I've been hearing a lot of people say it's the flu. I think it's the flu, but just with a little more added to it, so I don't understand.
And on top of losing their after-school activities in athletics, the students have also lost their education, at least until the ban is lifted on April 6th. But believe it or not, many of the kids do wish they were in school.
You never know how someone's circumstances is at home and stuff like that, so school for them is probably like a getaway place where they can talk to people that they can't talk to at home, and be around friends.
And sports serve that same purpose for the city of Flint. An escape, a beam of light which shines for all in one of the country's most dangerous cities.
Without sports, what is Flint?
Can you answer that question?
I mean, that's what sports is around Flint. That's how we become brothers in sports.
Yeah, and that says it all right there, Lauren. Sports is really a brotherhood that will last forever. And Jalen and Ernest both talked about legacy. Yeah, they do have that state title from their freshman year, but they say they didn't earn that one. And now they're worried they will never have a chance to hang a banner as the leaders of a title team at Beecher. And that's something folks are going to be talking about, who knows, 30 years from now.
For sure.
They're going to be arguing about who is the best team to come out of Beecher. And now they won't have that history up on their wall. And here's another thing to think about. The seniors moving forward, what's going to happen with them? Both Jalen and Ernest. Jalen going to play basketball at Oregon, E going to Kentucky to play football. Both are supposed to leave for college in early June. Will they even be graduated from high school at that point? We have no idea. Obviously, this pandemic, it's affecting everybody on every level.
It really is, and it was really revealing to think about, the one line. It was very poignant to hear, someone say, what's Flint without sports?
We in Flint, we make cars and we make athletes. We're doing both. It's going to be a minute, though, but how crazy. I mean, you have to be when you're in the barbershop. That's what the guys are arguing about. Jalen Terry, people are saying he's the best player to come out of Flint since. He's the most athletic player, pound for pound, to come out of Flint maybe ever. And now he doesn't get that chance. Yeah, what do you talk about now? It's crazy. It's unfortunate. It needed to happen, but man, how unfortunate. And for those kids, for every kid all across this state, whether it be swimming, basketball, whatever, man, it's just a shame.
We're still holding out hope. And if we can get it done, let's get it done. Ryan, thank you so much.
You got it, man. Thanks for having me.
All right.
I chose Lawrence Tech for the architecture program and volleyball team. Architecture is a great fit for me because I love math and design. Now I combine them with technology to create beautiful structures. At Lawrence Tech, I didn't have to wait until my third year to start designing. Our hands-on education begins right from day one. And I'm really excited about LTU's Design Center in Detroit. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
All right, unable to get TJ Kelly for this particular program, but again, we're living in strange times. But Scott Bernstein, Bernie, is here. He is back, and we're here to kind of wrap up this basketball season. Unless we have more to talk about in the near future, we can only hope so.
Fingers crossed, and I know that the MHSAA has only put things on pause. They haven't officially canceled anything.
That's right.
So, we could keep hope alive. Maybe best case scenario, we're past this. We're on the other side of this by the spring. Maybe we can get 2 weeks to finish up the tour.
Yep, we talked about it early in the program with Matt Mowry. He kind of road mapped it out. But what we wanted to kind of focus on here is, since we are kind of looking in the rearview mirror now, what are some of your favorite moments from this past season?
This was a great season. 2020 won't only be remembered for the fact that we had to bring everything to a screeching halt in the district after the district semifinals.
First time like since World War II.
I was going to say we were talking about that. But just great basketball, great team basketball, great individual performances. In terms of individual performances, one of the first things that pops to my head if you're talking about Oakland County, Fletcher Lawyer, really starting to make a name for himself out of his brother's shadow. I call him Mr. Automatic, best shooter in the state. He had 42 points against Roseville. I think he shot 12 of 14, was 6 of 8 from three-point range. Some other great games that I saw. Orchard Lake St. Mary's, who in my opinion was the best team in Division I. I think that they were the favorite to win the state championship if the tournament would have proceeded as planned. We want to talk about an impression, a first impression, a statement. They put a running clock on Catholic Central. This is the Catholic League Central Division. There aren't running clocks. 99% of the time you're going to have competitive games. And by the third quarter, Orchard Lake was up on CC by 45 points. I loved the Orchard Lake Clarkston game, which happened early in the year at Orchard Lake. Two best teams in Oakland County going head-to-head. St. Mary's got bragging rights there. They were probably, kind of tracking to meet in the regional finals. The Beecher Orchard Lake St. Mary's game was tremendous. Orchard Lake's only blemish on their record, and Jalen Terry was just electric.
Yes, he was.
For Beecher. 30 points, 10 assists, 5 steals and was just moving and grooving and shaking and baking. And Waterford Mott with Isaiah Jackson, the 5-star forward who's going to Kentucky. Their signature win on the season was against Grand Blanc at OU at one of the showcase events. That game told me everything I needed to know about Isaiah Jackson as a player, as someone that, in addition to his rim running ability and his fantastic athletic ability, his just mad hops, he's an incredibly unselfish player. Got the ball in the post with 3 seconds left. Most 5-star players would have gone and take the last shot themselves. Instead, pass it out to E.J. Bowman. E.J. Bowman hits a game-winning 3-pointer to beat Grand Blanc, even though Grand Blanc was playing without Ty Rogers. Right. And then some, other games that I really liked. Southfield A&T and Groves, Birmingham Groves, in the OAA White had an amazing 3-game slate, if you will. Yeah. All games came down to the very last shot. First game was a 25-foot buzzer beater by little Chuck Bailey to send Groves to the win. Second game, Groves won again by a point or 2. Then the third game was in the district, and Southfield rallied back from 15 down and won the game in the last 20 seconds because of Caleb Banks, one of the best 2-sport stars you'll find in Metro Detroit, in the whole state. A 4-star football prospect, a defensive end who's got Michigan State coming after him. And then on the basketball floor, he is a beast on the block. Literally single-handedly won that game, scored the game-winning bucket to put him up by 2. And then, last thing I'll say, Farmington Seaholm district semifinals last week. Jaden Akins had a 6-minute span where, again, you want to talk about statements, made a kind of a campaign advertisement for 2021 Mr. Basketball, where he scored in a 6-minute span, scored 14 points, was 7 of 7 from the field, or maybe 5 for 5 from the field, with 2 of those being 3-pointers, and then had 3 amazing playmaking Magic Johnson-like passes, one behind his back on a break, and another one full court, no look, to DeMarco Coaxley for a bucket. So just some great performances that I saw.
Absolutely, as you can tell, his main job is working for the Oakland Press, so he sees a lot of Oakland County teams. So obviously that's going to stick in his craw for sure. I'll mention just a couple. Number one, it was just a few years ago that we almost lost Saginaw Arthur Hill as a school, which means we were going to lose the rivalry between Saginaw. And there was even talk those schools would merge, which was
Lumberjacks and Trojans.
Yeah, it was like high crime to have those schools merge. I know the alumni just weren't having it. And we really got to see 2 great games this year. Surreal Smith and Saginaw at the High at their home, taking out Arthur Hill early to win their 12th straight, which is just, it seemed like, years ago that would have been an impossibility, but because Arthur Hill was struggling as a school, and the fact that they came back and they were able to win towards the end of the season, get it done, and break that streak.
They got that Jason
game.
Richardson mojo.
Yes, absolutely, and it was fantastic. So, and again, the last thing I want to say is so much talent from the freshman and sophomore level. We have so much great basketball to look forward to. Sonny Wilson, you mentioned Ty Rogers, and so many players.
Fletcher Lawyer, we talked about.
Absolutely.
His backcourt, make it Clarkson, Keegan Wasil, both sophomores at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. You got Kareem Rozier and Jason Drake.
Yes, and a lot of freshmen making contributions.
Javon Hanna over at Mount Clemens, who is just a magnificent playmaker, marvelous, everything, and all the superlatives.
All right, we have a lot to look forward to. We'll have one more issue we're going to talk right after the clip of the week.
Jimmy Bro from Wyandotte Roosevelt, here going up for the alley-oop jam in the win over Allen Park. Nolan Julio from Marine City Cardinal Mooney. He would nail the 3-pointer at the buzzer to close out the first half in the Catholic League semifinal win over Clarkson Everest. Tyson Akoff from Detroit Cass Tech High School. Here, capping off his 32-point performance in the PSL championship game with the big slam as Cass Tech went on to beat Douglas. Ben Stesiak from Canton High School, hitting the game-winning basket as time expires to beat Belleville in the KLAA playoffs. And it goes to Davion Watkins from East Point High School. He slips out of the double team and goes in for the big one-handed slam in their game against King And that's your MHSAA basketball clip of the week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this show, our final full-length Hangtime program for the season, unless God's listening and somehow that virus is wiped and we can get back to action and finish this tournament. But before we do, if this extends out, Scott Bernstein, we could be in for a long shutdown, which means AAU now, which begins very soon, is already completely impacted, and that affects recruiting in a big way.
You know, I've been making a lot of phone calls trying to wrap my head around what the future holds and how the recruiting landscape will shift and alter if this is an extended lockdown on sports, but specifically recruiting, which is kind of a specialty of mine. So I think that if we're at a situation where there can't be an AAU season, where there can't be showcases and combines, whether we're talking football or basketball, you're really going to have to go to an old school paradigm where coaches in college are relying on phone calls to coaches in high school, relying on pure tape instead of seeing kids live, relying on, in some cases, just reputation.
Yeah, potential.
Yeah, and then I think there might be there might be a bottleneck in the sense that the top kids are going to get the offers regardless. The blue chippers are going to get the offers regardless. But what's been so great about this kind of new landscape that's flourished in the last, let's say, 20 years, where there's a lot more AAU basketball, there's a lot more showcase camps, that allows more exposure, and it allows for the kids that might be flying under the radar during the regular season to show their stuff in the off season and gather scholarship offers. I think that the kids that would be hurt the most would be the kids that don't have the mind-blowing statistics, that don't have the mind-blowing measurables in terms of what they run, what you would play out at a combine, whatnot, and you're just kind of relying on needing to be seen. And if that exposure doesn't exist, kind of the lower level kids are probably going to have to wait a little longer to get their college plans in order. So I think that's kind of maybe where we're headed. The one thing that I heard, and I don't want to get too alarmist or anything, but one of the scouts I talked to about this, and I said, what if we have a summer where there is no AAU basketball, there is no 7-on-7 football? He said it could get pretty crazy, and just kind of it will be touch and go, and kind of just going where it develops, and there's no roadmap for it. There's no plan for it because we've never experienced this before. So it will be kind of again it will develop as it happens, and we'll just have to adjust.
Yep, it's been a great year. We are appreciative that we've been able to do it as long as we have. I appreciate you, Scott, for participating all year long. You could still read Bernie's Bites at statechampsnetwork.com. Anything you'll be working on in the near future?
So, as of right now, college recruiting is going about business as usual. So there's still college recruiting news. I got for the Michigan blog, I got a college football recruiting notebook that's coming out. Kyle Fugetti, one of the hottest offensive linemen on the recruiting trail right now out of Livonia Franklin, just committed to Miami of Ohio. I discussed that, and I also discussed, after talking to some scouts, don't be shocked if a kid like Fugetti, by the time we get to signing day 2021, is signing with a Big Ten school, because he's got Big Ten talent, and the Big Ten schools are now starting to sniff. I think he wanted to kind of get everything locked down and commit to Miami early, but I see that kind of as a soft commitment. All due respect to the Miami Redhawks.
And we want to send a big shout out to all the sponsors for sponsoring Hangtime this season. It has been a fantastic just a couple of months. And Lawrence Technological University, of course, the MHSAA, Hungry Howie's, the U.S. Army, big sponsors at Hangtime this year. The DMC Detroit Medical Center came in with their game changers just midway through the season, and we really appreciate their continued support of the State Champs Sports Network. So again, if we get any news, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give you the news. So make sure you stay connected with State Champs Network on social media. Download our free app. Watch our shows. We got more programming that'll be starting next week. I'm compiling a dunk list that I think you guys are really going to dig. Great video coming next week. So stay with us here, and we'll see you next time. And we'll just keep hang time going here, and hopefully we'll finish the tournament. State Champs Hang Time is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Also brought to you in part by Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The U.S. Army, what's your warrior? The Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, because better coaching always matters. And the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers.